They met on a sidewalk, 2 worlds apart. He was a rich businessman. She was a woman with a wild spirit and no fairy tale ending in sight. But one night in Los Angeles changed everything. Their story wasn't supposed to last, but it did, at least in the hearts of millions. Now, after more than 30 years, Vivian and Edward return, and the magic they left behind is coming back. Stronger and deeper than before. When Pretty Woman hit the big screen in 1990, no one expected it to become such a classic. Julia Roberts became America's sweetheart overnight. Richard Gere redefined the cold businessman with a soft heart. The story of a man who hired a woman for 1 week and ended up falling in love with her was something the world hadn't seen quite like that before. It wasn't just a romance. It was about acceptance, second chances, and finding real love in unexpected places. The movie's impact was more than just box office numbers. It influenced fashion, music, and even how love stories were told in Hollywood. Everyone remembers the red dress, the opera scene, and of course the unforgettable line, "Big mistake, big, huge." Vivian and Edward became more than characters. They became symbols of hope for those who felt unseen or unworthy of love. And that's what kept Pretty Woman alive in fans' memories all these years. But why now? Why come back after all this time? That's what has everyone talking. The answer is simple: unfinished dreams. While the first movie ended with Edward rescuing Vivian, what came next was never shown. Did they stay together? Did they build a life beyond fairy tale promises? Did the fantasy turn into reality? Fans have spent decades wondering, and Pretty Woman 2 is ready to answer. In this new chapter, both characters have aged, changed, and lived through years the audience never saw. But the deep bond between them, the way they understood each other, when no one else did, that's the heart of this new film. The story picks up not just to tell what happened after, but to explore how love survives through time, mistakes, and distance. Julia Roberts and Richard Gere returning isn't just about star power. It's about chemistry that never faded and emotions that never fully healed. The return of Pretty Woman is not just a sequel, it's a reunion. A reminder of a time when love stories were raw, imperfect, and full of hope. The kind of story that stays with people for years, waiting quietly for the next chapter. And now, that chapter has finally arrived. The first look at Pretty Woman 2 doesn't just tease a reunion, it opens the door to a whole new journey. The trailer begins not with laughter or glamour, but with silence. A soft piano plays. The camera shows a quiet street in Beverly Hills. It's not the same bright, wild city from 1990. This time it feels older, calmer, and filled with memories. And then we see her, Vivian. She's standing outside the same hotel where it all began, wearing a simple coat, her hair tied back. She doesn't smile right away. She looks like she's searching for something, or someone. Then Edward appears. He's sitting inside a sleek black car. He looks older but not tired. He looks like a man who has seen the world but still remembers what really matters. His eyes meet Vivian's. No words are spoken, but everything is said in that one look. There's surprise, regret, and something else - hope. The trailer gives only small pieces of the new story, but those pieces are powerful. We see quick flashes of the past: Vivian's red dress, Edward's umbrella, the necklace that made her laugh. But then we see new images. Vivian walking through a bookstore, talking to a young woman who might be her daughter. Edward sitting alone at a piano. Vivian looking at a photo of herself and Edward from long ago. It's clear that time has passed and so much was left unsaid. One scene stands out. Vivian, dressed in a dark blue gown, stands at the edge of a ballroom. Everyone else is dancing, but she watches from a distance. Edward enters alone and slowly walks toward her. The music fades, they don't speak. But Vivian's eyes fill with tears and Edward simply nods, like he understands. This moment says more than any line of dialogue ever could. The magic is still there, but it's buried under years of silence and what-ifs. The tone of the first look is different from the original movie. It's not all about shopping sprees and rooftop fairy tales. This time, it's about what happens when the fairy tale ends. It asks a deep question: can two people who were once everything to each other find their way back? Not to the past, but to something real in the present. There are small hints about the plot. Vivian seems to have built a life without Edward. Maybe she became a writer, or maybe she stayed out of the spotlight on purpose. Edward looks like a man who made choices he now questions. The trailer shows a letter being opened, an old voicemail being played, and a ring that was never given. These are clues, small pieces of a broken story now being put back together. What's most surprising is how quiet and emotional the first look feels. It doesn't try to repeat the old story. It respects it, honors it, and dares to go deeper. Fans expected a charming return, but what they got was a haunting, beautiful question. What if the love of your life never truly left your heart? This first look doesn't promise answers, it promises emotion. It promises closure. And maybe, just maybe, a new beginning. Asterisk, no one expected Pretty Woman 2 to bring in new faces that would matter so much. But the moment they appear, you can feel. This isn't just Vivian and Edward's story anymore. It's about the people around them, the ones who change their path, challenge their hearts, and remind them what love really means. The new cast isn't there to take the spotlight. They're there to complete the picture. One of the most talked about surprises is the young woman shown with Vivian in a quiet coffee shop. She has curly hair, confident eyes, and a smile that looks a little too familiar. Fans are already guessing. Could she be Vivian's daughter? There's a scene where she holds up a photo of Edward and says, "You never told me about him." That single line opens up 1,000 questions. Did Vivian raise a daughter alone? Was Edward ever told? Or was the past buried too deep to share? Then there's a young man working at Edward's company. He's smart, sharp, and always watching Edward from a distance. In one scene, Edward places a hand on his shoulder and says, "You remind me of someone I once knew." Is he a son? A rival? Or just a younger version of the man Edward used to be? The trailer keeps the truth hidden, but the mystery adds a layer of tension and curiosity that feels fresh and real. Another beloved return is Barney the hotel manager from the first film, now older and even more charming. He's seen giving Vivian a warm hug and whispering, "You still light up a room." His return is like a gentle bridge from the past to the present, showing fans that not everything has changed. Some bonds truly do last forever. And for longtime fans, seeing him again brings comfort like coming home. One emotional surprise is a scene with Vivian at a small memorial garden. She lays a rose down next to a photo of a woman who looks like Kit, her best friend from the first movie. The music slows, and for a moment Vivian closes her eyes. It's clear she's lost someone important, and her grief adds depth to the woman she's become. It also honors the old story, not by copying it, but by remembering it. Behind the scenes, the team bringing this movie to life is just as special. The director is someone who grew up watching Pretty Woman and wanted to tell this sequel with love. Not just style. He brings a gentle, emotional touch focusing more on real feelings than fantasy. The screenwriter is a woman known for writing strong, complex female characters. She makes Vivian not just a memory, but a woman with power, sadness, and grace. And the music? There's a soft piano version of "It Must Have Been Love" that plays in the background slower, softer, and even more heartbreaking. One last surprise appears at the very end of the trailer. Vivian opens a small jewelry box, not the one from the first film, but something older. Inside is a note. We don't hear what it says, but her face changes. She gasps, then smiles through tears. The screen fades to black dot. This isn't just a movie about falling in love again. It's about time, change, memory, and the people who shape who we become. The new characters bring life, truth, and unexpected turns. They're not side notes. They're keys to the heart of this story. When the trailer for Pretty Woman 2 dropped, it didn't just trend, it broke the internet. Within hours, fans across the world flooded comment sections, forums, and fan pages with one shared feeling. They weren't ready for how emotional it would be. Many thought this sequel would be light and fun. Instead, it gave them something deeper, something real. And the reactions have been powerful, one fan wrote. "I didn't think I needed this movie until I saw the trailer. Now I can't stop crying." Another shared, It's like meeting old friends you never thought you'd see again. On social media, clips of the reunion scene between Vivian and Edward were shared over 1 million times within the first day. People aren't just excited, they're moved. They're connecting to a part of themselves that still believes in love that survives time. Even younger audiences, who weren't born when the first movie came out, are discovering the story now and falling in love with it. They're watching the original and then jumping straight to the sequel's teaser, saying things like, "This is the kind of romance we don't see anymore." The quiet moments, the soft smiles, the look in Edward's eyes, it's pulling. In a whole new generation. And they're not watching out of curiosity. They're watching because something in this story feels missing from today's world. Of course, with all the love comes pressure. Fans are hoping this movie won't fall into the trap of trying to copy the past. They don't want flashy clothes and recycled lines. They want truth. They want answers to questions they've carried for decades. What really happened after the limo drove away? Did Edward keep his promises? Did Vivian get the happy ending she deserved? Did life get in the way? These are not just fan theories now. There are expectations. There's also curiosity about how the film will handle aging. In a world obsessed with youth, this story shows two older people who are still beautiful, still complicated, still growing. That's rare in Hollywood. Many are saying this could change how love stories are told. That maybe it's not just about falling in love, it's about staying in love, coming back to it, or even discovering it again after loss. One emotional post said, "I lost my partner last year. Seeing Edward and Vivian together again makes me believe love can still live inside us even after years pass." Comments like that show why Pretty Woman 2 is already more than just a movie. It's becoming a symbol, a message, a reminder that some connections don't break, they just wait for the right time to return. And yet, fans are nervous too. What if it's too late? What if the magic is gone? But then, they rewatch the trailer. They see the way Edward looks at Vivian, the way she almost smiles when she sees him. And just like that, hope returns, not only for the characters, but for all of us watching. This film isn't trying to be bigger than the first. It's trying to be honest. And that honesty is what fans are holding on to. They don't want perfect. They want real. They want a story that proves love changes, grows, and sometimes comes back when you least expect it.